Sugar and starch and this belly fat is the number one cause of aging and age-related diseases. So if you want to die early, get a belly fat.
And we're going to jump right in with two of the top foods or food categories that we can stop eating or be more mindful around or limit or minimize when it comes to their role of increasing belly fat. So Mark, what are these two categories and what do you want to say about them?
Well, we're gonna learn a lot about belly fat on this podcast, but the truth is it's the most dangerous thing in your body. If you have belly fat, it is a risk factor for every single age-related disease, period. So it is, forget about smoking. This is the killer. One of the two things that are the worst, one is liquid calories. Well, liquid calories, I don't mean like a protein smoothie. What I mean is soda, juices, even nut milks, which you think are healthy, can be spiking your sugar. Sweetened coffee, sweetened teas, energy drinks. You know, we are living in a sea of liquid sugar, and it's different. It's really different than regular sugar. I mean, regular sugar is bad enough, but this seems to just accelerate the development of belly fat by being quickly absorbed, spiking blood sugar, spiking insulin, and that just leads to this whole cascade of belly fat. It's really bad. So if you can do a single thing to dramatically improve your health, is get rid of liquid sugar calories. The second is flour, which is everywhere. And it turns out that flour is worse than table sugar when it comes to raising your blood sugar, which when you raise your blood sugar, you raise insulin. When you raise insulin, you sweep all the fuel out of your bloodstream and throw it into your belly fat cells. It's basically what happens. So it's like insulin basically opens the gates, all the fuel, fat, sugar, carbs, everything goes flooding into your fat cells. And then the gate closes like a one-way turnstile in the subway. You can't get back out. So it's really bad. So flour and sugar. Now, do I eat flour occasionally? Yes. Do I try to eat flours that are better? Yes. I'll have coarsely grained flour, or I'll have flours that are full of extra fiber, lignans. I'll have buckwheat flour, Himalayan buckwheat flour, which is actually full of phytochemicals and low glycemic load and high protein, high minerals and microbiome enriching fiber. So there's ways to, quote, hack it. Coconut flour, almond flour, those are all fine. I'm talking about wheat flour or grain flours, even brown rice flour, all these healthy, quote, and gluten-free snacks. They're actually often worse than regular flour because they're just so highly processed and quickly absorbed. So those are also huge things. And, you know, it's different eating a whole grain versus whole grain flour. Even if you eat whole wheat bread, it's still a problem. So I would stay away from flour and sugar, except on occasion as a treat, and make sure you have a meal that includes protein and fat and fiber so you actually can mitigate the effects of the flour on your blood sugar.
So Mark, let's break down the basics. What is belly fat and what are we learning about why it's so problematic for our long-term health?
So, you know, most of us were taught that, you know, fat is just fat. It's like this inert thing, you know, it's just there holding up your pants. It doesn't really do much. Not good to be fat or have fat on your body too much, but it's not a thing really. That's how it was when I was in medical school. But now we've learned that the fat cells in the belly, we call visceral fat or belly fat, it's essentially the fat around your organs, around your liver, kidneys, intestines. All this fat is very different qualitatively. And when you see someone with a big belly, or even who's skinny with a little belly, that is a sign that they're accumulating this belly fat. And what these cells are a whole nother organ. They produce cytokines. You've heard of the cytokine storm. Why is it that people with obesity are at the highest risk of hospitalization and death? Because their belly fat cells produce what we call adipose cytokines. One in particular, called interleukin 6 or IL-6, is one of the key cytokines that's driving the cytokine storm in COVID. So that's why we're seeing this problem, is because of belly fat. Why people are dying from COVID is because of belly fat. That is important to understand. If everybody in America was thin and had no belly fat really to speak of, COVID would be like a non-issue, right? Unless you're really old or have a chronic disease or something terrible. But 88% of us have some degree of belly fat that's driving this problem. So that's one issue. They also produce all kinds of hormones. So you see all kinds of changes in people's bodies. For example, women, when they have a lot of belly fat, will get acne, they'll get facial hair, they'll lose the hair on their heads. Men will, the opposite will happen. They'll get high estrogen levels because the fat converts testosterone to estrogen. They'll get breasts. They'll lose all the hair on their body. They'll get soft skin, you know, they'll be like a woman. So these are real things that happen. They also change your brain chemistry, and they affect your hormones and your mood and your appetite. There's literally hundreds of molecules that are being produced by these fat cells. They're not just storage units for extra calories. They're literally organs that are dangerous organs that are producing inflammation, screwing